four members here. We have a quorum, so I'll call the
Hello,
meeting to order.
everyone.
Hello, Angus. So, four members, me, Sue, Mark, Angus. Marianne is absent, and Matthew Nordhaus is absent. So let's go into the action plan items. Strategy 4.1, small grants. We have, I believe, one new application.
I think there should be two. Did only one
Okay.
of the cover sheets get sent over?
No, I have two. You're right.
Okay.
The agenda says one, or it
Okay.
says I or something. Okay, forget it. We have two. Let's go through them.
Okay. All right. So this is grant application number 17. So this is a 74-year-old living alone seeking assistance through the grant to help with safety modifications. This is a home that she's looking for deck railings to go around her porch. I believe when the construction occurred on the home, they had done gravel underneath the porch, which brought it to a height that didn't require railings per code. But now that some of that gravel has washed away, she feels it is unsafe and would like to, and as she's aging, she would like to have the railings going around her deck. And she would also like to get some grab bars and fixed curtain rod insulation in the master bath. Railings for her basement stairs, grab bar near her entrance from the garage, and replacement of a storm door. She did have a few other items on her list that she wanted done, but I excluded those from the application just because they were for a spare bathroom, and I didn't feel that was appropriate use of the grant funds since she was going to be already updating one bathroom. So those were eliminated, but we had two estimates. The first one that came in, Henry did not approve of, which was for $2,900, and then estimate 2 came in at $5,190, and that's the one where I removed the second bathroom stuff from the itemized list. So those expenses were removed, which brought the total to $4,760, and that's the proposal that Henry approved.
4,200.
4,760.
Okay, 4,760. All right. It's a single family home?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. 4,760. So any discussion?
So Maren, before we approve these two, do we have enough funds to approve both of them? Or are we out of funds? I thought we had about $10,000-ish left in these, total a little more than that.
So there was like 11,800 left.
So this basically wipes us out.
Yeah, but gets us allows us to spend the full amount of the grant.
So I believe if these ones are approved tonight, I think Lucy had sent out an email that the remaining amount would be around a little over 2,000, I think. For if we were to approve this one for 4,760 and the next one.
Okay, I don't
maybe.
I hadn't seen that one, but that's
okay. I could be misremembering.
That might just be me. Yeah, but we're not overspending with these two.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. This one sounds to me like it's essential work, and it's the kind of thing that this program is designed to do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I move we Oh,
No, I was going to ask if there was any more discussion in hopes of going where you're about to go. I hope.
I move we approve applicant number 17 for the amount of 4,760.
I second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. I guess I'll do a roll call. Mark,
Aye.
Angus,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
and Bartlett is an aye, so it passes. All right.
Okay, so, the next one is a single, 78-year-old living alone. She's in the mobile home park. She has windows that are leaking, that have been identified for replacement. Some of them have some rot from the leaking, which is requiring some framing and wall, rot to be removed and replaced, and that's around at least 3 of the windows. But the other ones that are in addition to that, those 6 there's 6 windows, sorry, and then 3 of them have rot around them. The other 3 don't. So there is some framing that needs to be done. 2 estimates came in. And I believe the one that Henry, yes, sorry. He approved the lesser amount one, the 5,965.
Okay. All right, so this is the trailer, windows, some wall work. Windows leaking is a very bad idea.
Hmm,
Um,
especially in a mobile home.
in a mobile home, and it's leaking into the structure of the building. It's terrible. So anybody else have a comment?
Is this an LRAP recipient as well?
No.
I move we approve this. Was this number 18?
18.
18?
Yes.
In the amount of 5,963 or 5?
5.
5. I can't read my own writing. Sorry about that.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Great, thank you. Motion made and seconded to approve LRAP 18 in the amount of almost $6,000, 5,965. We'll do another roll call. Mark,
Yes.
Angus,
Yes.
Stu,
Yes.
and Bartlett is a yes. The motion carries. Thank you. All right. Okay, Amy, do we have an LRAP applicant?
Yes,
No,
we
we
do.
just we do. Okay, great.
Mhm.
Let me find that page. All right, current rent. We have it here. Does everybody have a copy of it?
Mhm.
Single mother, adult son in a single bedroom apartment. Family was helping, but not anymore. Scattered employment, injury. So 9 points. Amy, do you have anything in particular to tell us about LRAP 43?
Yeah, so this one was a new one for me. Do you remember the fire that took down that condo complex over in Boxborough
Mhm.
a couple years back?
Yeah. So
apparently there's an issue going on, or I don't even know if there's plans for that to even be rebuilt. So this mother and son were a victim of that fire. So they were displaced and then placed they got in over at the apartments, in the meantime. So I don't fully understand how that's all working out. I would assume that there's some sort of insurance that would be paid out, but I do believe that she received some of that, which has helped her stay above water for a majority of the time frame, but now she's used all of that and she is behind in rent. It's hard for her to keep up with it. She has health conditions that make it challenging for her to maintain employment. The son has been working. He's over the age of 18 and has been contributing to the household, but he got injured on the job. Well, not on the job. He was injured at the workplace, waiting for his ride to pick him up from work. So he didn't get workers' comp because he was off the clock. So he got FMLA. The FMLA seems to be ending. He's going to try to appeal it to continue receiving it to help out with the expenses. I just feel I feel very bad for them. And I think that they would be a great household to participate in the LREP program. They're doing their best to make ends meet and really trying. And I'm going to be working with them for disability applications. And they've worked with our department already to get into SNAP and all that. But I really want to help them out. This is a really tough situation for them to be in.
It is.
And just to say it again, as before you bring any applicants to the trust meeting, you've already vetted them for that they qualify as applicants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and under the income limits, etc.
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of questions.
Okay.
We'll start with their rent's $2,300 a month, but their income's $1,200 a month. So even if we give them $500 a month, they can't afford to make their rent. So they're already in arrears. So what's preventing them from just being evicted, even with our contributions?
So we are working on RAFT. We're working on getting disability. We're getting them enrolled in SNAP benefits. So we're working on accessing all these different options to help with averting some of these costs and help them be able to make the rent. I did also submit a referral for them to get some help with finding a more affordable unit, which obviously takes time. So the hope is that this will help with getting them caught up and then they can get in a more sustainable situation. So that's what we're working towards.
I understand the goal, but even if we gave them $500 a month, they're still short. We're not helping them catch up, right? They're just not falling as far as they're still falling behind. They're just not falling behind as quickly, right? The money's not enough to cover their difference between their income and their rent. I feel for the family, but this is something that's beyond what we can help, right? Even if we gave them $500 a month, right? We basically up their income to $1,750, but their rent is $2,300. They're still $600 some dollars short every month. Not to mention however much they're behind already. So I don't know how giving them rental assistance gets them out of this hole. Right? Because it's not enough to get them out. They're never above water. So they can't dig out of the hole with just rental assistance. Does that make sense?
So, Mark, what do you suggest they do?
I don't know, but I don't know what they can do. That's not my specialty. But what I'm saying is, even by giving them money, we're not helping them, right? They still can't make their rent payment.
But Amy's also saying that this $500 a month would help them in working with EHS and other resources that EHS can help them with. My take on it, and I could be wrong, is that this is new So it's just starting the process of getting them to try to keep their head above water. And I just feel that $500 toward their rent would be that help.
But it won't. That's the problem, right? They're still not above water. If Amy had the other things approved already, and this was helping them get above water, then I would be okay with this. But they're not above water yet, right? So
you want them to drown now, and
no,
then we
no.
can resuscitate them later. Come
I'm
on.
saying, no, I'm saying even if we give them the money, they're still drowning, right? We're not, this isn't getting them above water, right?
This is giving them a life jacket.
No, it's not. They're still below water. That's the point. They're still below water.
So I wonder if a little clarification on the income might help. So Amy, is the income of the son of the child, well, 18-year-old, is that the 1,200 or is that zero now?
So he's in the process of getting that extended.
So that's the other assistance. It's not.
That's his FMLA.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and we're waiting. He's got a broken arm, so that's what needs to heal. So once he's able to go back to work, his income will go back up.
Okay. And Amy, what is the 16,599? Because that's annual, so divide by 12, and that comes out to 1,300 and change.
Mm-hmm. So this is the part where it's tough. She has medical conditions that hinder her being able to maintain that regular employment, which is why we're going to try for disability, which can take some time. But I feel she has a good case. It's just a matter of getting all of the documentation in and for them to review it, which can take some time.
Okay, so
she's doing part-time work to try and make ends meet.
Okay, but until recently, the income was her $1,383 a month and the son's $1,257 a month.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's what I have as his current income because he's on FMLA. I don't have his previous income for employment.
Okay.
On your computer, and then you click submit, and that submits my whole form.
All right, so those two.
Thank you. What's the layoff wrong? Off.
Leave it on.
Leave it.
Okay. So Mark, I really think that giving them the $500 a month is going to be a big boost to their immediate situation, and the expectation is that it's not going to that they will find work.
So
and they will have actually an income.
Sense to review in 6 months or 3 months or 6 months?
We haven't done that before.
Correct.
But doesn't mean we can't.
Mm-hmm.
I would be okay if we did this again, reviewed this one again in 3 months. My concern here is that even with our money, they can't make ends meet. So we're basically giving them money and they're still going to be evicted because they can't cover their rent. They're already behind. We're not catching them up. And that there's still not enough income for them to make their rent.
Mm-hmm.
So
my thought process was that 3 months would
yes,
at least give some indication of whether some of these other income streams are going to return. And, for example, the disability, if that's going to kick in, and if they're able to move to an apartment that is subsidized, then that would kick them out of the LRAP program. So,
So, go ahead.
Well, my contribution is that every little helps, and if we can offer a little help, regardless of whether they're brought out of insolvency where they are or not, it's still a little bit of a boost to them. I don't believe the goal of our program is to solve absolutely every problem and to resolve absolutely every discrepancy. Our aim is to offer some help, and wherever it lies, there it lies. And then we can reevaluate as has been discussed and then move on from there. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Angus.
So I'll make a motion that we approve LRAP 43 with a review in 3 months.
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Motion's been made and seconded to approve LRAP 43, $500 per month. I will do a roll call vote. Angus.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Sue.
Yes, reluctantly.
And Bartlett is a yes. So it passes to be reviewed in
3 months.
3 months. So
All right.
October, November, December, and January. All right. What's next? Policy language for eligibility extension guidelines.
Just
Do we have a
to
report?
let you know that Laura is here, and we had
Okay.
Durkee update at 6:45. We're a little past
Okay. Okay. Can we skip the schedule ahead until
that. Your
bring Laura
prerogative.
on board and hear what she has to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Didn't work. Okay, Laura's going to be joining as panelist.
There I am.
There she is.
Oh,
Welcome.
welcome.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to be seen. You want me to jump in or?
Yes, please. Do you have information for us?
I do have some information for you, yes.
Good.
Just hot off the presses. The septic engineers have finished their calculations. I don't have the report yet, but I have their calculations and I have what the various systems will support for bedrooms. I will send this in an email to you. Sorry, I got it too late
Yeah.
to send it tonight. But I'll send it to you so you have it in writing, but let's talk about it anyway. So we know that the Title V system, they confirmed a Title V system would support a maximum of 18 bedrooms. So we knew that from previous work that had been done.
That was a guess. Yeah.
But it was a guess.
Yeah.
But that does include the 3-bedroom system. So
Oh, so it's 15 additional bedrooms.
15 additional bedrooms.
Okay.
Yeah. That was what I wanted clarified because it wasn't real clear. So an advanced system, and as you may know, there are several different, and they're called IA system, innovative advanced treatment systems. Depending on how much nitrogen removal is done. So it would range from 20 to 24 bedrooms. And that's in addition to, you don't have to subtract off the 3.
Okay, so that's in
Bedroom.
addition. So that range is depending on what system is being
What
used.
system is being used and how much treatment is being, being activated in the system. Then I also asked, because it is adjacent or abutting some conservation land, I asked them to look at if under Title V you can use, if it's permanently restricted conservation land, you can add that to the calculations for a septic system that abuts it, as long as the holder of the restriction approves of it. So because you don't ask until you know what it's going to do for you, and I would assume that it's the town that holds the restriction, but I'm making an assumption, so I don't know that for a fact. But I did want to explore all the different options that you could possibly have. So if you utilize the conservation area, you could get, with a Title V system, you could get 20 bedrooms, so it only adds, a couple bedrooms. With an advanced treatment system, you could get 26 to 32 bedrooms. And
Okay, now,
that's a range based
yeah,
on
okay.
the amount of treatment.
Now, can you clarify which land you're using? Because our property has a strip of conservation land that runs along one side between us and the neighboring houses. And then there's a 40-foot setback from that conservation area, which we're not supposed to build in. So are you asking about the conservation land itself or the land that's offset from the conservation land on our property?
The conservation land itself, you don't build on it, you just use
Right,
it
but
for calculation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
So you're
happens
not-
a lot when a town buys land with CPA and they want to use a chunk of it. They want to conserve most of it, but they want to do a chunk for housing. They'll use the calculation for the restricted land as well. So
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, so the high end is 32 bedrooms, which I did a couple of little playing around with numbers. It could be 17 or 18 units, depending on how many bedroom composition units you have. So if you have 7 1-bedrooms, 10 2-bedrooms, and 2 3-bedrooms, it's 18. And if you want to, have more 2 and 3 bedrooms, if you had 5 1-bedrooms, 9 2-bedrooms, and 3 3-bedrooms, it would give you 17. And that's kind of a good mix of units. But that's, again, will be up to you to decide how many maximum bedrooms you want to see, and that then will tell the developer, indicate what IA system they need to have to do that, and whether or not the town wants to utilize it or the trust wants to utilize a conservation, again, whoever holds the restriction, assuming there's a restriction on it.
Yeah, I don't believe there is a CR on this property. It was owned by the developer and he sold it to the Affordable Housing Trust for the dollar as part of a development agreement.
Okay, so it's restricted for development, but but it still could be used for calculations?
Correct. That's my understanding.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's even
But
better.
you should be able to use the whole parcel for the septic calculation.
Okay,
It's about 5 acres. So,
so that's
And-
exactly that's what they used. The 20
Okay.
bedrooms for Title V tells me that, so.
Okay, got it.
So that's where we are. I expect the report, this week that I can get to, that I will get back to you. And I think the surveyors were out last week. And then that will trigger the full due diligence report, which should come in probably in 2 weeks. So then we'll have the package to be able to talk about options that would be included in a request for proposals. So we're getting there. I know it's slow. But it gives you some things to think about as far as, how you want to move forward based on the septic options. Is Mark
Okay.
talking? Sorry, you're on mute.
Sorry. So Maren, on the town GIS system, there's the 3-acre lot that abuts that. Would that be able to use to expand the Title V?
I was kind of wondering that too. The town also owns 3 acres of conservation land that's next door. So, and that is owned by the town. It's stipulation, there is a stipulation that it not be developed. But that, like Mark says, that's potentially several more acres that could be added for the calculation, for nitrogen loading if necessary.
That would be helpful.
And I believe this is just outside the water resource district, so I believe it's not nitrogen sensitive, but I mean, yeah.
I think the engineers did look at that,
Okay, good.
but they probably didn't look at that 3-acre parcel, but we will.
Okay.
All right.
Wow. All right, that's a lot to think about.
It is.
So,
And
go ahead.
no, it's okay. Go ahead.
When we were looking at this before, we were talking about 18 bedrooms being kind of on the low side for affordability. If we go to the advanced systems where we can support more bedrooms, I assume they cost more to install. So does the affordability point shift that much?
They do cost a lot, but they also can be paid for with grants. So the infrastructure can cover that. And these are the kind of projects that rise to the top for, it's not that much money. It's not millions, it's, maybe 100,000. And so, it's what's left over when the big ones get funded. So, that's how I think it would proceed easiest. So, and there's also some, mass development. I think since the last time I spoke with you, has gotten more aggressive in looking at smaller projects and being able to use their tax exempt funding for under 20 units, about 20 units, under 20 units. And they're hoping to put maybe even some 4% tax credits in it. with tax exempt funding, so it's starting to make small projects between, somewhere around 20 units, 16 to 20 units, financially feasible. And it's just kind of picking off grants for infrastructure if that's needed. And then the rest of it can get funded. And then that has how do I say it? A higher affordability in that it's a lower AMI. So you get more
Okay.
units at lower AMI.
Okay.
So, so some things are changing, and because some rules changed for tax credits, and it's making it easier to use. 4% have always been easy to use. They're non-competitive. So if you get the tax exempt funding, you can get the 4% tax credits. It's just being able to unlock what mass development has been difficult in the past. But they have some new folks there that have figured it out. So, and the rules changed. So I know that's complicated, but
Well, that sounds like it's basically good news.
it is good news.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question about the IA systems. I mean, I guess there's a variety of different ones.
Yep.
I know that 20 years ago, the Littleton High School was built with an IA system and it never worked right.
Mm.
So my question is, does an unconventional system impose a maintenance burden on the residents or on the whatever we have, a owners association, or the people who maintain it?
Well, I guess it depends if you're doing rental or home ownership. Either, if it's home ownership, then it's a part of the HOA, part of the homeowners association. There are increased maintenance costs from from a Title V, which should be, pumped regularly, but
Right.
most people don't. It just the nature of things.
That's underground, but you can't see it.
You can't see it. In a rental project, it's part of the operating costs, and in a home ownership, the costs are estimated, and therefore the price goes down because the HOA goes up. So, it's built in so that it should be affordable going forward.
Right, and my understanding of the way a septic permit would issue on an IA system for joint ownership is that they have, part of the condo association is for care of the septic system, and they would have to set aside some repair funds automatically. So there's more oversight than a single family home with an IA system.
Yeah. And the developer typically has to fund a reserve account to start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And just to let you know, there's been a lot of improvements in IA systems, and they're constantly being tested and upgraded. There's, I think, I live on the Cape, and at Joint Base Cape Cod, they have a whole section that are just testing new IA systems and innovative ways to treat wastewater. And it takes a while to get DEP approval. And they set them up there, and then they test and they monitor, and they keep going until finally they get approved. So that's they do work.
Good. Okay.
So
Okay.
I thought last time we were talking, we were saying that this was most likely a rental situation. Does that still apply if we're adding more bedrooms, or is this still? I'm just wondering where we're going.
I think the only way it works financially is a rental project. There's just no subsidies if you're not a gateway city for home ownership. That hasn't changed.
Okay.
In Marne, what would we have to do to get this approved?
There's several different ways, that this could get permitted. Friendly 40B, a, special permit from the planning board under senior residential development. And the bylaw gives the planning board the leeway to either, it doesn't require an age restriction. I think those two are probably the best scenarios for, or best two permitting options for this development. Laura, do you think I missed anything?
No, I think you're right. Because you wouldn't want to try and do it with variances.
No. I found that doesn't work in Littleton.
Doesn't work in many places.
Yeah.
As a former ZBA member,
Oh, you're one of those bad people then.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
well, no.
So I think that I'll be, as soon as I get the reports back in, I'll send them along. And like I said, this one, the septic should be soon. And then the due diligence will follow with the survey.
Okay.
Okay. And then we can get down to drafting.
So we should schedule another meeting in about a month then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So with these additional bedrooms, potential for the additional bedrooms, do we have different calculations for the affordability matrix? You had a spreadsheet before. I don't know if we can just, I assume with the advanced system, we couldn't just plug in more bedrooms and expect it to come out the same for the affordable.
Yeah, I mean, I have to look at it with the changes. The funding sources that I was speaking about from MassD, kind of a game changer. So I think I'd look at modeling that as well before our next meeting, with a couple of different bedroom compositions.
Okay.
And then we can discuss it. And I'll send that before the meeting so you have it with plenty of time.
Okay.
Does
And
that sound okay, Matt?
Yep.
So-
Okay, Mark, go ahead.
So just thinking, I'm just walking through the timeline here. So we're going to have like a full report, a new spreadsheet in November, and then we'd have an RFP more in like December, a draft of an RFP, or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'd work on it. It probably wouldn't be final until January. And for timing for, if it's anticipated that, they would need HLC funding, then, it's better to put it out in February. Because the funding round is usually mid-February, mid to late February. And developers don't look at RFPs while they're trying to get their applications together. So we try and time it for that. Around February is good. It's before the deluge that goes in March. So you get in a little bit earlier. They're ready to look at it a little bit earlier. So I think we'd have a final ready for that.
So the goal is to post an RFP in February.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and I had one question about the grants. Is one of them a Housing Works grant, infrastructure? Okay,
Yeah.
so that application would be anytime.
April.
Yeah, maybe April through June, early June. So,
Yeah. But it's the developer that, oh no, it is the town that does it.
mhm.
And then they were late this year, but they came out in October, I think.
Yeah.
So usually it's September.
Except for last year, it was November.
Was it?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Short-staffed.
Okay, is the report going to have any of the engineers' thoughts about the house and the barn and the correct use of those, or the?
They thought that it would be best to put in the request for proposals that, I don't know whether you've decided or not, whether it was going to be one whole package or that you were going to separate the house. That was still up in the air.
Yeah.
They thought that you put in the RFP that it would be highly preferential for them to include the barn, either structural restoration so that it's, doesn't fall down, but a high preference to be used as residential units.
Okay.
That doesn't mean they have to, because
Right.
we couldn't get a good number on what it would take to get it in condition to
Okay.
have residential units. So they thought it would be best to be let them know that you want it included,
Mhm.
preferential,
Right.
preferably as residential units. But if it's a community room or meeting space or something, that could be acceptable as well. And we can talk about the wording about that, how we do that when we get to the drafting. I have some thoughts.
Great. Are there any other questions? No? All right.
All right, well, thank you.
Laura, thank you.
Thank you.
Laura.
We'll see you next month.
Next month, right?
Yep, I'll circle back with you on a date for the next meeting, and we'll make sure that
Okay.
it's a
That
date that's
works.
available.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. All right. Well, at this point, we can go back to policy language for the LRAP program, or we could go on to 550 King Street and the affordable units there, which I don't know of any progress on that.
So jumping back to the policy discussion, I couldn't remember if we were waiting until both Mark and Matthew were available for a meeting to have that discussion. I don't remember where we landed on that.
Right. Well, it is.
I thought we were waiting till we had a full board.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's the same thing we're waiting on regarding the extension of the LRAP program that we worked on as well. And my understanding was that it was best to wait till Matthew was available. So that's also going to be on hold.
Okay. on hold. Okay, item 2C, 4.4 is the 87 Tehadawon Road updates. There was a site walk with the engineers. Mark, do you want to report on that?
Sure. So there was a site walk with the engineers with Conservation Commission. They were looking to see how many trees they had to take down within in the 50 to 100-foot buffer zone. It turned out to be there was one tree of significant caliber that they would have to remove. I believe Conservation was talking about it last night at their meeting, but I was unable to attend. I got the general feeling from the site walk that there wasn't going to be a big issue with Conservation. I don't know. I assume you weren't at last night's meeting, Bartlett, or haven't heard?
I was not at last night's meeting.
So the other issue, we also went to the ZBA to talk about a variance to allow a duplex in the area. It was not overly well received. There was a continuance on the hearing until their next meeting, which is sometime in November. I don't remember. November 20th.
Mhm.
And Habitat is looking at all options on the best way to move forward. Duplexes aren't allowed by right in single family zone, so we need to work something out. So there's alternatives in the works. So do you have anything to add, Maren, or?
Well, one of the suggestions that I heard, just in passing, was go back and reissue RFP. I would hate to go that far back, because then we should have, if we're going that far back, we should have the discussion about literally using some of the conservation land to help offset the Title V, calculations, like Laura was just talking about. But I never heard that a goal of the trust was to maximize the number of units on that site. I think it was more to be of a scale that would fit in the neighborhood, which 2 units was the number that, we came up with to be in the correct scale. So I'm hoping it doesn't go that far backwards, I guess.
Right. Okay. So Steve, we've done D, the Turkey Farmhouse. The next item is E, the scheduling, discussing the schedule for building the affordable units at 550 King Street. At the last planning board meeting, I asked the Lupoli companies to present us with a schedule of how they propose to provide the affordable units in each of the buildings as they go through. They've made it very clear that they intend to build all of the affordable units that are required, but the schedule of when they get built isn't clear at all. And I haven't heard back, and I don't think Aaron has either.
No, I haven't. I've heard that we do anticipate getting the first phase of the commercial development, the site plan for that, late in November, and probably the site plan for first residential would be submitted in January. So I would guess it'd be January latest when we get the schedule for providing the affordable units.
Okay. So the first site plan is the commercial buildings along King Street, some of which have apartments above.
Correct. correct, right, mixed use.
Okay.
No, yeah, good point. So I guess I should say I would expect the the proposed schedule of affordable units when we get the first site plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's hope we do.
Good.
All right. Number 3, board business. Discuss exploring the next AHT development. And we were talking about a revolving RFP for land purchase.
So,
Yeah.
Marianne was taking the lead on the RFP. I believe she sent a draft off to Kim, and I could not find it, so I don't think it was included in the packet. What was included in the packet, my contribution to the RFP was creating a matrix on how we would evaluate the RFP, like Laura was saying, with the barn, for Durkee, we could evaluate an RFP higher if they preserve the barn or use the barn or however. So I started a matrix that I think is in the packet. If people have comments on what they'd like to see in the matrix, how either as new rows or how they evaluate things on the columns, that would be helpful. So
Okay.
if you have comments on those, please send them back to me, or you can send them to Maureen and she'll get them off to me or Marianne. So,
Okay.
So is there a time frame you'd like those back?
it would be nice to have them. It would be nice to have them in time to put them in the packet for the next meeting. So, say 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
82 Russell Street, I believe that's the property we looked at for the tennis courts. Is that right, Lauren? Across from 495.
Mhm.
I've had conversation. It's controlled by Park and Rec right now. So, in order to build on that property, we would have to basically take it out of Park and Rec's control, which is equivalent to taking conservation land out of conservation control. We'd have to do a land swap with them or something. It's not entirely clear. This might also have to go to town meeting and something. So we haven't really pursued it any further because it seemed like an awful lot of work. Go ahead.
Well, conservation is a permanent restriction, and you have to go to the state legislature and all that to get change it.
Yes, Park and Rec is very similar.
Very similar. Okay, I didn't know that.
I did not either.
Well, that effectively puts that piece of parcel out of our orbit.
Yes, it makes it extremely difficult to use that parcel.
Right. One thing that would ease that would be if Park and Rec had another piece of property in mind that they wanted, another piece of town-owned land that they wanted to swap for that, or, well, town-owned, private, whatever. But that's then you have at least what the method is, and you have the proposed swap, but you would need that first.
Yeah. So I haven't went down that path yet. We could potentially investigate that, but it hasn't been explored, just because there's a lot of logistics involved.
Mm-hmm.
So if people think it's worth doing, we can keep looking at it, but there are a lot of logistics that would be involved.
Okay.
13 Shattuck Street, we sent a
13.
letter off to the new owner, and we have not heard anything back to my knowledge.
But there's a giant earth-moving machine on the property.
Yes.
And
So
there
it doesn't bode well.
The last time I looked, there were little wood stakes with red flags sprinkled around in front of it. So looks to me like a house is going in there.
The First Baptist Church, Bartlett and I met with them last month. They're talking about selling the church. They want to, their preference is to turn it into like some kind of performing arts center. There's pieces of it that would be very suitable for housing without major modifications. We're meeting with them again late next week, I think. But there's really been no further movement other than that I know of.
I know that the historical consultant walked through it, and I don't know what the result of that was, but there was a walkthrough.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
And it seemed to me that when you and I were there, that the stained glass windows were the big historical thing, and there wasn't a whole lot else that was significant enough. I mean, they kind of defined that meeting space, those big windows, so that because of the windows would like to be preserved for historical reasons, but there wasn't much else in that building that struck me that way.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. All right, the next item is the acceptance of the $1 payment from Habitat for the 87 Tehadawon Road property. I think we can assume that we're going to go ahead, Habitat will go ahead, we'll find a workaround to make that project go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if not, there is always the reverter clause in the development agreement.
Okay, so that dollar
Yes.
might
We wouldn't have to pay
go
them
backwards.
$2 back.
Much to my surprise, a $1 check did actually show up from their closing attorney.
All right,
I move we accept the payment from Habitat.
all right. Motion made and seconded to accept the payment for the property. I'll do a roll call vote. Angus,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
and I vote to accept it also. So it's done. Okay, that's done. Trustee and town planner updates. Do any of the trustees have updates? Does the town planner have updates?
I think we covered everything that I was
Okay.
thinking of.
All right.
There's that conference coming up with Mass Development soon, right?
Yeah, thank you. I'll send that around again. We have a couple seats still open, available for anybody to attend if they wish.
That's November 12th,
That sounds
I
right.
think. The Assabet Housing Forum.
Yeah.
Okay. Possible candidates for the 7th board seat. Is there any update on that?
No good news on that. The
Okay.
candidate that I had in mind, I spoke with them again just recently, and with their young family, they really can't commit right now. They'd like to be involved when possible, but can't step up and ask to be appointed as a member at this point.
Okay, so we still need another member. We'll have to scrounge around.
Yeah.
Okay, E, minutes to approve, September 9th and September 16th. Where's the minutes? September 9th. I was absent, so I can't I'm not supposed to vote on it.
You can still vote on them.
I can still vote, but I'm not sure I can express an opinion.
If you don't vote, they can't be approved.
Oh, that's true. All right. Are there any proposed changes to the minutes for September 9th? No, September 16th. Or is it the 9th? What am I doing?
There's both of them.
Or both of them? Any
You
comments
missed the
on
9th
either
meeting,
meeting?
not the 16th.
What?
You missed the meeting on the 9th, not the 16th.
Yeah, okay. Any comments to be made on the meeting September 9th? No. Any comments to be made on the meeting of September 16th? No.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from September 9th and September 16th.
Second.
I'll do a roll call vote. Angus,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
and to the extent that I can, Bartlett says yes also. So that's done.
Thank you.
All right. Last item, schedule a meeting in November.
It doesn't matter what date we do in November. I can't make any meeting in November. Not even via Zoom.
Oh,
Gonna be in Italy. Can't do it.
oh, come on. This Wi-Fi.
Yeah, get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. No, thank you.
Not even for us, huh?
No.
All right.
I hope we get to see pictures. How's that?
Yes, I'll send pictures.
Awesome. Thank you. So let's see, third Thursday is, third Tuesday is the 18th. And the third Wednesday is the 19th. Recalling that Laura usually has more availability on a Wednesday than a Thursday. Does either of those work for you? And that's the week before Thanksgiving.
I would prefer the 19th to the 18th, if possible.
Mhm. Bartlett, is that a CPC meeting? Perhaps?
It might be. It hasn't been scheduled yet,
Okay.
but they tend to be on the third Wednesday.
Mhm.
And we're not having, anyhow. So, I mean, I'm happy to. I'm also happy to say I can meet on the 19th.
Angus, are you available?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's pencil that in and see if we can get it to work.
Okay. AHT. All right, and okay.
Move to adjourn.
Penciled in. Yeah. Is there any other business to transact at this meeting? Is there anybody want to suggest ending the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Second, okay. By acclamation, I declare that this meeting is over.